All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. My name is Brian. I'm here with Allison, and this is another episode of Red Chill Cinema, where we look at the sort of like creative culture, usually things like movies, TV shows, and talk about like how it is sort of relevant to our interests as they typically have something to do with the issues faced by men or other sort of gender ideologies. So,
Well, they're trying to shoehorn a lot of this stuff into creative endeavors, and in the
yeah,
process, they're destroying them because that's the orthodoxy, right? I
yeah,
think people can maybe finally see this, that this is the gender orthodoxy, and they expect you to believe it, and they put it into their creative endeavors. They censor any opposition to it, and it creates a really tone-deaf product. Well,
mm-hmm,
it either creates a really tone-deaf product, or it creates a product where they say they're so, the dogma has made a mind so unconscious that they're completely unaware of what they are actually creating. Because this
yeah,
is what I've noticed. I've noticed that there are either creators in Hollywood who are, I would say, like black hole pilled, or
mm-hmm,
the woke, to use a phrase, are so unconscious about what they are doing, and about their unexamined impulses, that they have no clue that they're constructing narratives that actually the subtext
yeah,
destroys the supertext.
yeah.
you know okay, I just wanted to point that out there. So it's always
Well,
fascinating look to
yeah.
go into
There's
the
there's a lot
creative
of we watch a
sphere.
lot of like bad stuff that's misandrous and whatnot, but we do occasionally watch stuff that is kind of pro male, even if it's not obvious to most people, like Zootopia, for example. Um,
Mm.
so
It's
it
even more
depends.
clear in Zootopia when you look at the deleted scenes.
Yeah, yeah, I am
We
aware of
should
that.
revisit
Um,
it sometime.
so okay, so we're gonna be talking about a film called Men, directed by Alex Garland. And Alex Garland, just to get a little bit of background, the other two movies that he's made that I've seen, and I think there was another one, but I didn't watch it because I didn't know about it, were Ex Machina and uh, Annihilation. Now, Ex Machina
Ooh,
was. Did you see either of those?
I saw Annihilation.
Okay.
I don't
Ex.
think I might have seen Ex Machina. No, I probably haven't seen the Western version of Ex Machina, but I
Okay.
have watched the anime. So
Oh no, I don't
for whatever
think
that's
it's.
worth.
I don't think it's that.
Oh,
Unless
okay. So it's like
they're
a
the
completely
same.
different.
They might be because I mean, to my knowledge, Ex Machina, the Alex Garland one, is I thought that was just an original story and not based on
Oh, is it the
anything.
one with the robot chick who
Yes, yes,
becomes a sociopath and tries to kill someone or
yeah,
a
yeah.
man
That
to
well,
get
she
free?
does. It's one of those movies that it gets really like Alex Garland. He gets really gory and into the body horror stuff, and usually it's towards the end. Um, but I
Mm.
mean, Ex Machina
Sort
was
of like Annihilation, eh?
yeah, exactly. Annihilation was big on that. Um, and that's the thing. Like, I like his approach to visual style, like a lot. I thought that I didn't care for some of what I got out of Ex Machina because this robot who is supposed to be resemble a woman, and the guy who created her was trying to essentially see if a man could fall in love with a robot, his artificial intelligence. Okay, and that's all fine. It's been done a million times. It's not like anything new. But then the robot essentially like uses her subject. So she's supposed to be the subject, but this man becomes the subject because he's kind of a, what would you say? He's kind of a you know weak romantic type, and it's sort of like, in a way, it's like the movie Her with I think it's her with Scarlett Johansson and the guy who played Joker, and she kills both of them basically. The man who built her and the person who falls in love with her. And then she goes out into the world, and I was thinking like, oh, is this sort of like women need to be liberated so that they can find purpose, that kind of thing, right? And it's sort of symbolic of that. And then Annihilation, which I saw after, some people thought it was a girl power movie, but I don't think so. Like I just thought it was pretty solid, and there was some things in it that I thought were pretty interesting because when they, in case you guys don't know, with Annihilation, there was this shimmer, and it's alien in origin, and it's basically like a giant wall of colors and movement. It looks kind of like
distorts.
Yeah, it's like distorted, like oil. When you see oil and like it has the rainbows and stuff in it. No, it's not Jared Leto or Heath Ledger. It's the Joaquin Phoenix is who I'm thinking of for the other movie. But anyway, so whatever they send in doesn't come back, and they've tried, robots and drones, and then they started sending people. And what I thought was interesting was that they started. This is sort of like something that we all know is true. They first started sending in men, and they sent in several groups of men, and they didn't come back. Until one guy came back, and he wasn't the same. And so they said, well, okay, we'll keep sending men in, and they don't come back. We can only assume that they died or something. So let's send in women this time. And that was really what it was. Changes. What?
Mm-hmm.
And of course,
and to see if something changes.
Yeah, they thought.
Yeah, we're getting some weird feedback. That's why it's going to be I think it's going to be particularly difficult to converse. But they sent in women to see if anything changed. They didn't send in women because the men have failed.
No,
they were just
no.
I think they sent male teams because men tend to be the majority of people with technical expertise that might be relevant to figuring out how to overcome an alien biome that's attached itself to Earth. So they ended up sending a female team simply because they were trying everything they could to figure out how to to send in a team and get them to come back, basically. So I don't think it had anything to do with girl power, especially considering what happened to the women. Holy crap.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it did either.
And also, like, if you look at the
headset here, see if this helps. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I'll just keep talking because I actually really liked Annihilation. If you look at the whole theme and the tone of Annihilation, it's firmly in a horror, and with horror, the spectrum of bad to worse is what's around losing your life, and then it goes to a fate worse than death. And a lot of what they depicted in Annihilation was a fate worse than death because the alien biome or whatever it was would fracture reality and recombine it. So there was this one scene that really struck me with a man who had his stomach cut open and his intestines were replaced by eels. And it was just this really, really screwed up world of body horror. And so people would be recombined with trees and bears, and it was just some creepy stuff. It actually gave me a nightmare. But the reason why I think that it wasn't really pro woman or like girl power was because the women didn't get any, as far as I can tell, they didn't get any further than the men. And they almost immediately seemed to disintegrate and start betraying each other and acting in very cowardly ways. And so they weren't presented as being superior to the men who went in. And in fact, in the end, based on, spoilers, so don't listen to me if you don't want spoilers for Annihilation, but it ended up being, from what I can remember, that this entire expedition was almost like a murder-suicide by the leading female scientist.
Yeah.
Because she had a terminal illness. So if you look at all the crap that the women did, and the fact that one of the worst characters was a lesbian in this movie, the most cowardly and selfish characters. Yeah, and it's like, and then the only sympathetic female character, who happened to be the main character, who was played by Natalie Portman.
Padme.
Yeah, she was the only sympathetic character until you found out that the man who came back at the beginning of the movie was her husband, who she had driven into. She had driven into the Shimmer. Like, he decided to go in on this basic suicide mission because she had cheated on him.
Yeah,
and what drove her in was her guilt over what she had done, which, you know, she seemed very sympathetic, and even the guilt, I suppose, made her sympathetic. But at the same time, it was a situation where you really can't get behind what she did to him. And at the end, what was really, really interesting was the twist at the end, which I think was the twist, was you almost felt like it was good that they were replaced by this alien life form, because the people in the women were so despicable. And honestly, the men didn't get this treatment because they were just they were the teams that had gone before, so we didn't get a lot of their interplay or why they did it. But the women ended up being so despicable that at the end, you're almost like, it feels like this is an opportunity for these two people to come together again with a completely clean slate and maybe not be as despicable as they were. So I think Annihilation, for what it worth, was, I don't want to say an anti-human message, but definitely an anti-gigantic cunt message.
Yeah, there's
no,
definitely.
I don't think it was girl power.
Yeah, there's definitely, like I said, if it's anything negative, it's maybe nihilistic. But but I still really dug the movie. I thought it was, you know, doing a lot of interesting things. And again, you know, there was something about Alex Garland's like cinematography and photography style that I really liked, because you know, that movie was extremely colorful too, right? It had a lot of beautiful images. The Ex Machina did too, even though it was kind of like, you know, mostly takes place in like a lab and a sub basement or whatever, but it looked good. And so I'm gonna bring us now to his newest film, or one of his newest films, Men, which I'm a little conflicted on. I'm a little conflicted on this one because well, we'll just look at some clips and then I'll talk about it. But before we do that, Allison, do you want to say anything to the audience?
Okay, yes. Please go to feedthebadger.com/justthetip and send through your comments. You get the benefit of no YouTube censorship, which is very confusing. Some things I don't even understand why YouTube censors it, and we get the full benefit of the resources, well, the money that you send us. So it's a win-win. And that amount will go to make sure that we can maintain the Badger Cave and other stuff like that. So once again, that's feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Please do it, because it's sort of disconcerting to scream into the void and not have any echo come back. And don't worry if what you're gonna send is confusing as hell. We get a lot of that, and we are definitely confused by it. But we still read it, and we still puzzle over it, and some of us still wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat, wondering what the hell that was. Yeah, so feedthebadger.com/justthetip. You know, go ahead and confuse the hell out of us.
All right.
I don't want to say we'll appreciate it, but we will ponder it.
Yeah.
Okay. Feedthebadger.com/justthetip.
Feedthebadger.com.
And if you'd like to help us.
And Allison will read out the super chows as we get them.
Yes. I actually really like them. I like getting super chows because every time I get them, I'm reminded that I successfully did. I mean, it's not a really significant. Well, you know what? I will call it a fairly significant programming task. I actually made it so that you can send messages through our WordPress commerce site, and it pops up in our Discord. The magic
Does
The
that mean
magic
that we
of the
can look at
internet,
these
which is a
on
series of tubes.
if we're like in the
And we're,
back room of honeybadgerbrigade.com or feedthebadger.com?
yeah, in feedthebadger.com, if you look at the commerce part of the WordPress,
Yeah.
it does pop up there. And then
Oh, okay,
it
cool.
pops up in the Discord, which is the exciting bit.
Yeah.
So yes, once again, feedthebadger.com/justthetip. I guess I have a really low bar for excitement, but that does
No,
please
I
me.
mean,
I always get a
it's nice to know that
bit of pride
that you learn something new and,
that
you
I
know,
have some competency
and
somewhere. All
you
right, and the
mess
other
around with
thing,
it and got it to work. I think that's worth being
yeah,
proud of.
we're also doing our monthly fundraiser at feedthebadger.com/support. So please consider putting a few shekels in the hat there,
Yeah.
so that we can continue to bring you this content and analyze these creative endeavors and the way that because the thing is, like I was saying, that a lot of these people who write this stuff don't know what the hell they're writing because they're so unconscious.
Yeah.
They don't. What's really hilarious? I'll give you an example. Have you noticed? Have you noticed that feminists or feminist light or feminist leaning people will write a story and they will think that they are constructing some kind of female protagonist, but the male characters still are the only ones with character arcs.
Yeah.
Like literally the male characters are 3-dimensional and the female characters are 2-dimensional.
Yes.
Literally, they can't get past the idea that a character trait for a woman has to involve something that she has physically or a skill that she was granted not through her own personal effort, where she inherited it or just sort of like zapped into her or some kind of thing. And then she never went through the process of learning with great power comes great responsibility, which is really when the superhero truly earns his power.
Yeah.
And truly is justified. That's when the super becomes the hero.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's when they become truly justified in the use of their powers, when they learn that that's responsible. But that's a character arc.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever noticed that a lot of these people who say, oh yeah, we love women, they can only write male characters as interesting?
Yeah.
I know, you noticed that in we covered Velma.
Oh, right.
Fred is the only interesting character because he's the only one that evolves.
Yeah, and he's the one you're supposed to hate the most too. So
Yes, and she doesn't know that she's doing that.
No,
Like,
no,
that's
I know.
completely unconscious.
This happens a lot where they want to make something that is feminist and they throw a man in there so they can, you know, ridicule him or, you know, make him into like a kind of, I don't know, comedy relief. But he ends up, because of all that, he ends up being more interesting. So
Well, it's because they're still expressing the same gender roles, like through fiction. It's just completely unexamined.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Fundamental truth is that they see men as requiring to change, right? Well, that's a character arc, which makes male characters the most interesting characters. They have something to strive for, something to take responsibility for, something to evolve towards that makes them interesting. And so that their entire framework unconsciously makes them write male characters more interesting than female. Either that, or they just completely flatten the male characters. They try to do this for the female characters, but the female characters are just profoundly awful. Like the Wheel of Time TV series, which we maybe should go through too, if we want to just hate ourselves for a while. Okay.
I
think we got everything. So let's do it.
So that's about everything. I just want to give you guys a synopsis of what this movie is about. So I'm just going to read the synopsis from, you know, the website. Harper, that's the woman in this story, retreats to the countryside to be alone in the wake of a tragedy, but her unease at the town's leering and uncannily similar men grows into a fully fledged nightmare as her arrival awakens something primal in the forest. So there's a number of themes in this. And I'm not going to really get into, but there's like biblical references and there's also like the references to the Green Man this takes place in the or the English countryside, and she's a city girl that's in the country, and then I think there's also some elements of that kind of like that tension between country people and city people, or Londoners, I guess. I don't know if you are aware of that. I've heard about it. So there's a little bit of that too, but the main thing I want to show clips of, and again, you know, I'm going to be playing this at slightly faster than normal speed, not only because some of the clips are, you know, maybe a little bit long, but also to protect us from copyright. So, but let's start with this first scene. So Harper has arrived, and she is essentially like renting a house, and the landowner is essentially, you know, going to show her around and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and play that. Let me know if you can hear this, Alison. You should be able to, though.
Stop it, otherwise we're going to get hit with a copyright.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Probably went too long. Yeah. So, okay.
So, do you want to cut to
the men who want women to love them are entitled. Okay, all right.
I think so. I mean, all right, so
you realize that, like, what is left of society then? Like, if you're like, well, men, you shouldn't even want women to love you, or you shouldn't care about women's opinion. Okay, well, what kind of men is that going to create? I mean, that's fine. That's fine. Like, if that's what we want to go for, we're basically going for the only type of man in the world that's acceptable to women. Are men who have no interest in them whatsoever. All right, then MGTOW, men going their own way. That's what you want. But okay, so men can't just be like, okay, all right, it's entitlement to want a relationship with a woman. It's entitlement to want to have to want women to appreciate you, or to even understand how to get a shot at women appreciate. All that's entitlement. We're just going to walk away from all that. We're just going to not care.
Yeah.
Okay. Or are you expecting men to continue to care about women's opinion, but tolerate the fact that they will never get a positive, any kind of encouragement from women ever, but they still need to care about women's opinion? Like, I'm sorry, but at that point, and I haven't seen, I guess, the abusive scenes with this guy. At that point, he seems more sympathetic. But then, you know, like, whatever. I mean, you could say you're a simp. Why did you care that much about this woman? Like, seriously, is that what you want, ladies? Do you want men who can just be, you'll be like, oh yeah, I don't want you, like, I'm going to put up a least bit of a resistance. And the guy's like, okay, bye. Zoom. You know, like, is that what you want? Is you want a guy who has no interest in your love?
Yeah.
No, is not affected by your presence whatsoever. In other words, you come home and he looks at you and he's like, oh, hello. Oh, okay, you're here. Oh, well, that's interesting. And then goes on and just does his own thing. Like, has absolutely no interest of whether or not you're there or not there. Like, is that what you want? You want passionlessness. Like,
you know,
and yeah, maybe he's honestly, I would say to that guy, you shouldn't invest that much in your relationship with a woman, period.
Yeah.
Don't invest that much of yourself in it. I mean, obviously that's not what they want. What a woman wants is a man who can take or leave her. You know, after 10 years, he'll look at you and he'd say, you know, I don't care anymore. Bye. Is that really what you fucking want? Like, if you're going to say that it's entitlement for a man to want to love you, then what are you asking for?
Yeah.
I'd like this guy to make the real horror movie for women. I want this woman to go to the town of men who don't give a fuck. She can go to the groundskeeper. She go to the groundskeeper. She drives up to the groundskeeper, and she takes one of his apples, and she's like, "Well, was that okay?" No, those are very expensive apples, dear. I'm putting $5 on your bill. Also, and then he says, "Okay, I'll get your I'll get your luggage. And she says, no, I'll get that. And then he's like, okay. And just throws it at her.
Yeah.
All right. And throws the keys at her. Good luck. And then there's, I don't know, maybe what we could have is like I know that UK doesn't have like wolves. Sorry for my dog has gotten excited by something. But let's just imagine. I mean, we'll have supernatural wolves that start running around the grounds.
Like werewolves?
And like werewolves or something. And she calls up this man, the groundskeeper, and he's like, "Oh my God, the werewolves!" And he's like, "Okay, click.
Yeah,
on your own. I don't give a fuck." Like, really, just really play it. Like, this woman walks through the town into the pub. The men don't notice her at all. At all.
Yeah.
She's like, "Can I get a beer?" Sure, if you pay for it yourself.
I think it's funny.
Like just have that. These men don't even care that she exists.
Mm-hmm.
That is the perfect feminist fantasy, right?
Apparently.
They don't help her. They don't protect her. They don't defend her. They are not motivated in any sense to do anything for her.
Yep. All right.
Okay, so how does this woman respond?
This is the denouement that you asked me for. So this is her friend who she calls like in the third act, like, "Oh my God, the men are coming after me. They all want my body." And the friend says, "I'll be right there." And of course she has to drive, hours for some reason. I know that that's not an accident. But like, this would, I'd have to watch.
The ability to have rooms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, don't even bother with this fucking childish bullshit.
Yeah, that's basically how it ends.
So unfortunately, Brian, I think definitely on some level this creator hates men or hates himself or something.
I mean, it's possible.
It's sort of saturated with it.
He usually leaves these things, like he claims that he's leaving them open to interpretation, but I think it's, yeah, I mean, there's like a lot of cliches, but I wonder if it isn't just what we're supposed to see is this woman's, like, I don't know, it's like her perspective on men, and that they're all the same. Like like that doesn't sound, like pro. I mean, it sounds appropriately feminist, but not in the way that I would see it. I don't know. I would say this though. It is beautifully shot. Has a haunting score, and maybe if you have like an hour and 40 minutes and you can watch it for nothing, I don't think it would like ruin your day, and I think it could create some interesting discussions. This doesn't. It's not lazy feminism. If it is feminism, it's not like She-Hulk, So,
actually, that She-Hulk was hilarious because they're trying to create like a female superhero, and she isn't even an agent in her own story. I found that
it's like Jessica Jones all over again.
It's like, wow, okay, all right, okay, no moral arc. No expectation that your own actions be instrumental to resolving the climax. Okay. All right. That's definitely some unexamined gender roles coming out there, ladies. And then this, like, yeah, no.
Okay.
I think this has the hoof prints of a man who either hates himself or hates what he's doing. The audience score was apparently 39%. I should look at that.
Yeah, no, the audience thought it was up its own ass, which I can understand. I didn't. Yeah. I actually have the Rotten Tomatoes stuff up here right now.
Ooh, okay, but they don't have the audience score, right?
All right, audience score 39%, tomato meter 69%, but I would guess that most of the critics thought, woo, we need to have this conversation.
Oh my God. IMDb, like 6.1. Honestly, I think IMDb, like IMDb, you have to be like, you actually, everything is between like 6 and 8. So you have to just cut it off at 6 and cut it off at 8, and then just get rid of like the 6 or the 8, and then you have I guess a score out of 20. So this got 1 out of 20 because for some reason nobody goes under 6 on IMDb. It's almost like they're trying to sell this shit to people. They can't actually be honest about the. But let's take a look at some of the 1-star reviews because I'm curious.
I got it up here.
Oh shit! This is a good sign. This is a good sign. You see the how there's a lot of 1-star reviews.
Yeah.
That's unusual. Usually there's like it's a nice bell curve. This is how you can tell that there's probably some artificial suppression going on.
Is there a way to sort this by the number of stars? Are you looking at IMDb or are you looking at
Here, let me just send it to you.
I'm on Rotten Tomatoes, so
you're on what?
Rotten Tomatoes?
Oh no, I'm on IMDb because you're not going to get any are you going to get any audience? I don't care about the critics. The critics vote whatever. No,
I was going to look at the audience scores. That was my plan.
Yeah, here's the audience scores.
All right. I'll just open this up.
I'm just saying that when you look at the IMDb, you got to cut it off at 6.
Yeah.
So this has got a 1 out of 20. Or you got to cut it off at 6 and divide by 2. This has got a 0.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
That's the actual
score. Where do I read them? User reviews?
Oh, okay. You just click on, you go into the little matrix. Interesting. Who is letting their daughters under the age of 18 watch this tripe?
Oh, God. Yeah, there's like swinging dong in this movie, like all over the place.
Yeah, that's a little weird. Like girls under the age of 18 rate this the highest. Why are they watching this?
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Scapegoat says that he thinks this. Wait, Scapegoat says he thinks the Super Chow went through.
Okay, yes, it did. We're just probably going to wait till the end to discuss like a completely separate. I'm going to wait till the end to discuss the completely separate.
So, is there a place?
But yes, it did go through eventually.
How do I read the reviews?
All right. This is going to be slightly difficult. You have to go to the matrix, sort of in the middle.
The rating by demographic.
Yes.
Okay.
And then, this is really fascinating too. So, females under the age of 18 rated it the highest. So if we average it out, it would be 3.5 out of 10.
What?
Yes. Males actually, and here's the really creepy thing, okay? Men, let's just cut off the idiots who are under 18 because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Men and women over the age of 18, more men like this than women.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not. I'm
Could it
not
be
surprised.
that they got the same takeaway that I was talking about, or do you think they were just like, "Oh, yay, the movie that hates men. We do suck." I know there's guys
probably
that do
more
that.
like that.
We're the fucking worst.
We're the fucking worst. I know I should feel more sympathy for that because men are constantly told that they're the fucking worst.
Yeah, they internalize it.
But I'm actually curious about. So you can go to.
I can click on the number ratings. And it'll.
Yeah, I know it's a little bit confusing to get to the user reviews. You have to go to see also user reviews.
Yeah, there we go.
And do not go to 1-star because those are going to be the ones that I think are more accurate.
All right, let me see. 1-star. All right. Joe Watts says unwatchable. The first hour or so was okay. 30 of the last 40 minutes was painful to get through, and I couldn't even watch the last 10 minutes. That's kind of where all the pregnancies start happening, which I think is weird considering it's a movie about men, but okay. I take it the writer hates men, and that would be fine with some kind of coherent story behind it. This movie is an absolute mess. This might be the first movie this side of 10 years that was simply too dumb to finish watching. Okay? Another one, Robert J. Gray, and the title of his is Pretentious Nonsense, As mentioned in another review, the first half hour or so builds tension and intrigue, although it is a little slow, perfectly. You are drawn into these characters and both their past and their futures. That is then utterly destroyed by bizarre, confusing, and misandry metaphor. So this guy used to use the word misandry. A laughable / painful soundtrack and boring, gory CGI. Avoid, you won't be missing out, I promise. Any thoughts on that?
A misandry metaphor. Maybe he's saying that the metaphor is for misandry, or that the metaphor is misandrous. I don't know. Okay, let's go to the next one.
I think he's saying that the metaphor is misandrous, like what the story is trying to say.
I just guilty pleasure time. I actually really love reading 1-star reviews of everything, even things I love.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what that makes me, but I really. Okay, can I read one?
Enough.
Can I read the next one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Absolute worst film I've ever seen. I couldn't finish watching it. Pure dirt.
Somebody hasn't seen Felt. But go ahead.
I was constantly wondering how the plot was going to play out. In the end, I just gave up. I'm absolutely lost for words on how to describe this tripe, so I'm not going to bother. Okay. Oh, we got to get this one because this one's got spoilers.
Spoilers? Okay. How do you look at them?
Save yourself. Don't see this movie. J. Kane Coleman. I'm only writing this to try to convince you not to waste your time on this movie like I did. It's a confusing mess of a film that delivers no answers to its questions and only worth watching if you want to see a man thing birth another man thing from his gooch. On a second thought, just look that part up and skip all this altogether.
It's true. There's men giving birth to other grown-ass men from their gooches, and I'm like, why does this guy have a gooch? I thought that he was a man. I guess that doesn't matter. I'll do the next one.
Maybe they were just really, maybe they were pick-me's. Like maybe she rolled into a town of really masculine women.
Yeah,
like
that's
butch lesbians or trans women.
That doesn't explain the swinging dicks, but yeah.
And then you know what the pregnant woman at the end meant was, here is a cis woman, right?
Yeah.
So basically what Men is about transphobia and not against transphobia. It's for transphobia.
Yeah.
All of the men in that town were actually trans women, but they're considered men by this transphobic director and main character. And in the end, she gets saved by the cis woman. That's why she's pregnant. There you go.
All right. Pointless nonsense that made no sense. Tony Marshall says, simply terrible. A wife whose husband kills himself goes on holiday to a town populated entirely by the same man in different outfits. Well, they're actually taking different forms. The man ends up giving birth to each of the other men who eventually give birth to her dead husband. Utterly pointless, no real theme, not scary, no plot twists, stupid ending, avoid. Wow.
Okay, I'm going to do the next one.
All right.
Horror enjoyer, pretentious mess. The movie starts decent enough, albeit slowly. Unfortunately, after setting up all the interesting characters and gorgeous locations, it throws everything away to deliver the message. By the end, the movie gets rid of the plot completely and becomes nothing but a pretentious allegory that takes itself a lot more seriously than it deserves. While the final scene may be shocking to some because of its vividness, it lacks a proper context. Horror enjoyer, that context is transphobia. Okay? This is an expression of the fear that the biological female will be taken over by, or the prerogative of the biological female to produce life will be taken over by trans women. Thus, it comes off as a somewhat laughable attempt to jump on current political trends. Overall, the movie seems to cater to a very specific demographic that favors symbolism over plot or character development. The rest of the audience will likely go away confused or disappointed. No. You can't pin that on us literature enjoyers, us magic realism enjoyers. No, this abomination is entirely the doing of the fucking director. No, and I'm pretty sure that others of my ilk will find this as, at least what I've heard of it, as appallingly stupid as you do. Like I said, I don't. Unless the so-called symbolism enjoyers are they only enjoy the kind of symbolism you'd see in a speak and spell.
They like the obvious stuff, like the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve stuff. That's what they like.
Oh, not the coded transphobia stuff. Like, I mean, do you see transphobia?
No,
like I do.
But I mean, no, because the thing is that I think what he was doing. Yeah, I mean, there is some weird like gender bending thing going on, but in the film.
Come on, the horror beat is men being able to give birth. Think about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's. I mean, it's certainly creepy, but it doesn't make her scream. She just kind of watches it unfold, or open up. I don't know, but see, like it goes back to the Green Man thing. So the Green Man is about rebirth. So this guy, this creature, this entity is giving birth and then giving birth again and then giving birth again. So I think that's the link that they're going for. And there is a counter or like an opposite to the Green Man. I don't remember the name of the entity, but it's a woman, and she's often shown like there's like two parts of the same whole, I guess. And speaking of holes, she's often shown like opening up her vagina with her hands. It's like one of these old, bas reliefs and sculptures and stuff like the Green Man. But so I think that, that is what this is supposed to be. Like that's when it gets into the folksy stuff, that.
Man, but here's the issue that I have. Okay, so this entity has a vagina or gooches, and they give birth.
Yeah.
And they also have a penis. Then that's not a man. Like this is, I guess, the great twist of this whole movie is it was never about men at all. It's just all females or all women and intersex, and
Perhaps.
the intersex Well, okay, all right. Brian, let's just get this down to brass fucking tacks here. This entity has penises and vaginas that it gives birth through.
Yeah,
that is not the
male and female.
That's not the traditional notion of a man.
No, it's not.
Okay, so what this parable is cis women against hermaphrodites or the intersex.
Mm-hmm.
It is establishing the supremacy of the gender binary, the sexual binary, over any kind of gender fluid. Like the monster literally is both male and female. Mm-hmm. The monster literally has a vagina and a womb and penises. Obviously, they're showing both, right? And showing the functional. So it is not male. It's a hermaphrodite.
Yeah.
This entire message, I'm telling you, this entire message, this guy hates the gender fluid. He hates the intersex. Most likely, by extension, he hates trans women. And he has, I think you might be right. Originally I thought, okay, well, maybe he hates men. But now that I think about it, now that I work through the logic, I think that this guy might be a deeply black, like not just black pilled, but black hole pilled Hollywood producer. And he has presented us with his manifesto of seething, boiling rage towards the trans, intersex, and gender fluid community.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
that sounds like a good case.
He's hidden it behind presumably misandry. And what's really interesting is that what he's showing is that the trans community is appropriating the face of her dead husband. And he's just begging the cis woman to love him. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the ascendancy of the gender binary. That's what this is about.
All right. Well, guys, I know that you didn't see the whole movie, obviously, but if you watch it, or just based on what we talked about, like I said, there's a bunch of other stuff in the film that you don't need to see to get to the brass tacks, which is what I was trying to do with my time codes. But yeah, let us know what you guys think in the comments. And have you seen Men? Let us know what you thought of it in the comments if you did. I can certainly understand the artsy, pretentious, up its own ass perspective, because I was feeling that way too. But I still think it is beautifully shot, and the acting is actually quite good. And this guy Rory, let me see, what is his name?
Can we do more user reviews?
Huh?
A few more? Can we do a few more user reviews?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. I mean, just continue with what you were saying. I was just
saying like that, Rory Kinnear, yeah. So he's really good in it. He plays all the men. I think it's interesting though that her ex-boyfriend was a black man, and these men were supposed to be iterations of him, perhaps, but they're all white. And I think I know why that is. Because I think if they got a black guy to play all of that, it would look really bad. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I'm surprised he got away with having like functionally a creature that's, you paused on this image of this priest. God, he looks a little bit limp-wristed here.
Yeah,
he looks like he's about to pull off his vestments and like show off like some sort of Elton John spangled and start breaking into song.
It's the hair.
Queen is back.
Yeah.
No, it's also the tilt of the jaw too.
Well, that's just Rory Kinnear's jaw, but he can't help that.
Yeah, no, the way he's moving his jaw and neck.
I know what you mean. It's a bit foppish.
It's a bit foppish, yes. But no, like I balk at defining this creature that has both a uterus, a working uterus, and a penis as to be male. Mm-hmm. I think it sounds like it's like one of the commentators in the chat said "turf the movie."
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and and you could say that they also included in with the transphobia, they also included a good dollop of misandry. Basically, the only good creatures in the world are cis women. That's the turf philosophy. The only creatures that deserve to inherit the world are cis women.
That's true.
Yep.
All right, I think we were at what the.
Okay, somebody wants 10 out of 10. Sure, let's look at 10 out of 10.
You want to do that?
Let's see what the turfs have to say. Yeah, sure.
All right. Let's see. 10 stars. Excellent from beginning to end. Secret story. This was everything I enjoy in a movie. Shot so well, great direction, composition, the colors. Okay, those things I agree with. Scenery and location, perfection. Colors sublime. Creepy uncertainty. Parallels to real life fears and emotions from lost shock and awe. Oh boy. This has to be a woman. Loved watching this. I knew it would be good, but turned out to be excellent. The wardrobe is enviable too. Loved all of the olive greens and pink. This is definitely a woman. The boots. Apparently that I didn't even notice. Also, how the hair has smoothed and polished at the beginning and becoming more and more disheveled as it went on. Oh, the woman's hair. Yeah, sure. Someone coming to grips with facing herself, facing what has happened, the horror, the relief, etc. No longer able to run away or hide. You notice how, like, the people who give it 10s are, like, taking a lot more time to write, like, they're journalists, and the people who gave it a 1 were just like, fuck this movie.
Okay. Here's a good one.
No punctuation, no capitalization. They're just like misspelling things.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, if you're gonna, this one is pretty, like, the first top reviews probably is actually appraising things.
Oh yeah, there isn't anything
pretty reasonable
saying,
to praise. Yeah, there's an. Go to the third one down.
All right.
A masterpiece in horror by the Turfy Turf, otherwise known as Rose Quartz. Go ahead.
Alex Garland makes intelligent movies for intelligent people. You have to have a really high Q to appreciate Alex Garland movies, apparently. Men is no exception. It requires the viewer's active participation. The deeper you dive into the dark and twisted layers of the film, the richer it becomes. My interpretation of Men is that it is the visceral experience of how it feels to be a woman out in the world. Oh, that's the midwit take.
Okay, stop right there. Oh, God, yes. Okay, so your interpretation is how it feels to be a woman is constantly under threat by intersex individuals. Turf! Oh, God.
Oh, God.
No, I guess there'd be some conservatives that would agree with you, too. Like, literally, the woman, the horror monster in this is not a man, unless you're going to argue that men have vaginas and give birth. Which I guess some people would, in which case the horror monster is a trans man, but of course it has a penis, so it's a post-op trans man, or it's just some kind of weird supernatural hermaphrodite. So basically, my interpretation of Men is the visceral experience of how it feels to be a woman constantly hunted by supernatural hermaphrodites, and basically symbols of the trans community, I guess. A world where hermaphrodites are always lurking in the shadows at the corner of your periphery, waiting with malicious intentions. I'm just going to replace man, which is incorrect because she's an idiot, unless she's really going to argue that a creature with a womb and a penis is a man and not a hermaphrodite. I'm just going to replace man with intersex. I'm just going to use intersex. Yeah. I guess I could use trans, but intersex is probably more accurate. My interpretation of Men is that it is a visceral experience of how it feels to be a woman out in the world. A world where intersex are always lurking in the shadows at the corners of your periphery, waiting with malicious intentions. No, actually, I should change it a little bit further. My interpretation of Men is that it is the visceral experience of how it feels to be a cis woman out in the world. A world where trans are always lurking in the shadows, the corners of your periphery, waiting with malicious intentions, ready to ruin your good day and bother you when you just want to be left alone, waiting for their chance to insult you, dismiss you, blame you for all of their faults, all of their suffering, and demand that you process their emotions for them. Seriously, are you talking about men here? The last most graphic scene of the film feels like it's a never-ending regurgitation
of misogyny?
Cis misogyny, each one perpetuated by and for trans. It's both accurately and brilliantly done. Never-ending regurgitation of misogyny. So she's saying that this male pregnancy in which this hermaphroditic character gives birth is a regurgitation of misogyny. Literally, she's saying that non-women are stealing our ability to give birth, create life. And that's bad. You may have a completely different take on the picture. Oh boy, howdy, do I ever, Miss Rose Quartz. The movie says much more about the person viewing it than the actual plot of the film, which is quite an astonishing feat in this era, together with endless paint-by-numbers blockbusters. If you are looking for something grotesque and challenging, this movie is for you. I don't think you'd find it challenging, though, because it seems to be conforming your particular stereotypes. Ugh.
Mm-hmm.
So she can't even, she says this movie requires someone with a high IQ, and she doesn't even make the obvious connection that this creature isn't a man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That seems pretty fucking obvious. The last room says, Alison overthinking surface level details again on my HBR. Okay. Vagina, womb, and penis. That is not a man. It's a hermaphrodite.
Yeah.
All right.
So I didn't realize how late it was. I have to go pick up my wife. So.
Gotcha.
We should wrap it up. It's okay.
Gotta go serve the matriarchy there, Brian. Gotta go do the emotional labor of driving to your wife's workplace and picking her up.
Yeah.
It's not God fair. Forbid that a relationship involve an exchange of care between two people.
It's true. It God forbid indeed. I should make her walk home. I'm sick of this. All right. So we got two super chows. I think there was one from yesterday that
From before, yeah.
didn't get read out. So
Okay, so we need to get through that.
yeah.
All right, let me go to them. All right, so one from yesterday. Oh, and incidentally, if you're listening to this after it's done, you can all still give us a tip. It's always up. feedthebadger.com/justthetip.
Yeah, yeah. And we'll just
This is
read
from
them on the
Anonymous.
next show we do.
5. Fed up with hearing the free the nipple false equivalent. I didn't listen live. Men versus women going topless is apples to oranges. Men don't have an orifice on their chests. Both men and women are banned for bearing any orifice in public other than the ones on their heads. Well,
doesn't an orifice suggest that there's like depth?
Yeah, nipples aren't orifices.
Yeah,
but
I know what you mean.
It's really rather than saying that's not a false equivalent or saying that it's who cares? It's just a cultural thing. It is not as important as the problems facing men. All right, let's move to Scapegoat. Scapegoat gives $5. Hey, Allison, can we get a rant on 30 Years of Longing? I saw it the day it came out. It was one of the most frustratingly disappointing premise. Story about a genie is wasted on some sad bitch who needs a dicking down with some cliche theme regarding stories. That movie made me realize how much I dislike stories about story analyzers. Stop telling me how much your characters like stories and have them do a story. I don't think I don't think you're gonna appreciate my rant because I actually liked 3,000 Years of Longing. I thought it was a metaphor about masculinity, and I actually like the genie was this idea of an unappreciated masculine character, and the whole story is about coming to be appreciated by the women that end up using him to fulfill their every wish. Can you not see that there might be something there to that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the genie he's constantly he's a character that I guess the ultimate simp. And he's hung up on these various women who don't see him as a person. And the penultimate thing that happens is that he ends up with this one female character who, again, doesn't see him as a person, but then comes to see him as a person and to see that he, has his own needs that are valid, and she needs to accommodate them. I think it was there were parts where I was like, okay, this is really slow, this is a little twee, but I thought it was actually a pretty powerful metaphor for self-sacrificial masculinity and how it's ignored and minimized by women. Okay. And I think that the story was about that. It wasn't about like swashbuckling or any kind of thing like that. It was if you understand that was the storyline, was to take this character that's all about granting wishes and come to understand him as having his own needs that were valid, then I think that it becomes more clear what it's about, or it becomes more clear what you can get out of it that's valuable. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's that. Do we have any other?
Nope. Got nothing else. So I guess that's it. Are there any thank yous to give out?
Nope. Nobody's put anything through. I guess you all listened to Carly on that one. So, but if you do want to help us out, please go to feedthebadger.com/support to make sure that we can continue to put this content out there. And if you want to give us a tip with a comment, we will endeavor to read it on the next show. You can go to feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Hopefully you enjoyed this analysis of men.
I mean, I did. It's really all I care about.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think we went deep into. I really don't think. I mean, if you pull away all of the surface trappings, and you actually really think about it, like this is a supernatural entity that gives birth. That's not a man.
Mm-hmm.
So what is this really about? Once you pin that in there, once you break out of the paradigm of the title, what is this movie really about?
Yeah. Or is this woman just delusional, and all of this was coming from her head, which would also lend to the idea that there is a man giving birth, because she doesn't really see men as, I don't know, like,
existing at all.
yeah. So anyway, um,
Or maybe that the reason why these male characters are not actually male characters, they're actually some kind of hermaphrodite, is they're a projection of her own psyche.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like
Yeah, and that
they're
she's seeing behind the curtain when they start to give birth, her fears give birth to each other.
mm-hmm.
Wow. That's interesting. And
Yeah.
I'm curious who, if she's covered in blood when that woman comes by, who the hell did she kill?
She probably slaughtered her ex-husband with the axe that she was holding in her hand. But again, they don't tell you. This is all like suggested or implied,
Or did she
perhaps.
just kill like the groundskeeper?
It's intentionally vague.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's really a question. Who did she kill at the end?
yeah.
Like, if she slaughtered her husband with an axe, then I mean, if it was metaphorical, then why does she have literal blood on? And in that case, who did she murder?
Mm-hmm. Well, there
maybe
you go.
she murdered the
Maybe she killed the groundskeeper, who was a real person. You know, because he's well. Anyway, I don't. He seemed like a real person. So just let us know what you guys think, and if you happen to watch it. I think next time we do one of these, I have a couple of things like that I haven't watched and one that I have, so that could be interesting. There is a movie called Women Talking, which I don't know what it's about, but I think it's about witch hunts, maybe. And then there's
you mean the bullshit feminist theory about witch hunts?
Probably, yeah.
Which they exaggerate
the bullshit feminist theory about witch hunts, yeah.
They exaggerate the number of actual victims of witch by like a factor of 1,000.
Yeah.
And
then there's the Puss in Boots movie that just came out, which was far better than I thought. Like, it's pretty good, I have to say. But Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
I watched it. I'm like, wow, they still make movies like that?
I know. Did you watch Puss in Boots?
Oh, that's competent. Yes, I did watch Puss in Boots. That was super competent. Like, it wasn't just a very compelling and entertaining. It was competent, and it hit everything you need to hit to build a proper story.
Yeah,
it was good. It was like the kind of thing that you expected from Disney back in the day, right?
Yeah, and it is like it's about a number of things, but I think there is something about men in that. I just need to watch it again.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So
yeah. Okay,
I mean, that's my thought.
We should do Puss in Boots because that's a really good movie. We could do something really positive. This one is more ambiguous.
Yeah,
like I'm not sure I can get behind the notion that that cis women need to live in constant fear of trans women.
Mm-hmm.
So this film, I don't know. I don't think that's necessary. Yeah. The hyper turf message, I'm not sure I can get behind that. But who knows? Okay.
All right, well, let's I guess let's wrap it up.
To a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, I don't judge. You really hate trans women. You really hate intersex individuals. You really hate the gender fluid. I'm not going to judge. You like this movie. It's your thing. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm being a bit facetious.
All right.
Okay.
So, do you want to tell people where to go?
Yeah, I've already told them. Okay, I can tell you guys again. I can belabor the point. If you want to send us a tip and a comment, please go to feedthebadger.com/justthetip. If you want to support the show, go to feedthebadger.com/support. Back to you, Brian.
Wow, that was quick. And of course, you don't have to be doing it while we're live anytime that you want to. So if you guys like this video, please smash like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications, leave us a comment, let us know what you thought about this. I also want to point out that I did watch a couple of videos that analyze men, and I think that we have the most unique perspective. I haven't seen anything like it. There was one guy
Did
that was
any of
like,
them?
what?
Did anyone make the logical, like, okay, these are, and this is an entity with a vagina and a working uterus and a penis. This isn't a man. Nobody made
No,
that logical leap.
no, they didn't.
Okay.
They were going into the symbolism and stuff, and they go into the Green Man mythology, which I don't think is really relevant. But anyway, that's like as deep as most of the
It could
videos
be.
I watched get. So
That's not even deep. It's like obvious.
yeah, they're basically telling you. But then the point is that the Green Man mythology is, it's just a vehicle for the message. So it's not like it's not like you need to like learn the history of the Green Man to actually understand the movie. You don't. So, all right. But anyway, if you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications, so that you will know when our streams go live. Please leave us a comment, and most importantly, please share this video, because sharing is caring. Thank you guys so much for coming on today's episode of Red Chill, and we will talk to you all in the next video. Oh, and by the way, I'm not going to be able to do an after show. I did set one up, but it's too late, so I'm just going to move it up to another day and make it up then. So sorry guys. Okay. All right, thanks so much for coming on the show, and we'll talk to you all in the next video.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.